And, I was encouraged by other people in my life. I had a friend who was listening to you talk about the story, and she's like, send it to me, I'll dramaturg it. And I was like, no, I don't want to share with anyone. The actual truth of the narrative behind what I'm writing and what I'm advocating for is the fact that I didn't know what asexuality was until I was 23. So that's all of high school and that's all of college. It comes back to, we don't talk about sex, we don't talk about it, but it exists and it like leads our culture. If I knew asexuality existed at 14, I wouldn't have gotten myself into situations that were like dangerous. It's like, I need to keep making this. Like there isn't a question anymore, I need to keep doing it. So that's kind of where Aced It was born. That's the fear of it too, of like sharing this such a vulnerable narrative where it's like, this is me. Something that I have to put in my mind that I put forward is like failing with grace. Like you're gonna go into something and you're going to fail. It doesn't matter how much you prepare, something inevitably will go wrong. But it's a lot more grounded in the sense that like I know now as an artist what my voice is and what story I am telling. Like someone has seen something I've done and they liked it, which is crazy. Put yourself in it, embrace the fear.
Before we get into the interview, if you could hit the subscribe button, I would so appreciate it. It helps us out so much and it doesn't cost you a damn thing. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. I want to start, I usually start at the beginning, but I'm kind of going to start at where we met and then work backwards.
Great start.
Or jump, whatever. We'll just go with the flow.
Yeah.
Toronto Web Fest is where I met you and you were working on a project. So your project was Aced It, right?
Yes.
And so it was, tell me how you got to be part of the Toronto Web Fest.
So Toronto Web Fest this year did the first, it was their first showcase, I guess, of the IPF CMF development funded series.
Yes.
So with IPF, anyone can submit their creative idea for a web series. And then they select a certain amount of people, give them development funding to then make a trailer. And so everyone who got the development fund created a trailer and they showed that at the Web Fest this year, which is the first time. So we got to showcase ours and it was alphabetical, so ours was first.
Amazing.
I think. And yeah, it was it was a very cool experience just to see everything that's come out of it and all the I think that's what's so beautiful about creativity is that we're so afraid of like drying up the well of creativity and like, oh no, what if I don't have any more ideas? But like the ideas are endless. Like, it's just so infinite.
Never
like
ending.
So it was cool to just see all the different types of ideas for series that are out there and all the ways that people made it. And with the proof of concept trailer, there isn't really any guidelines on what that is.
Yeah, it was really neat to see like everybody's different take on a proof of concept trailer, because some of them were more like storyboard-esque or some of them just took clips from things that they know and like this is the vibe, and other people filmed like a full trailer. It was very interesting, like the styles and everything.
It was definitely the most weird thing to script. Because again, I was like, do we do a trailer style? Do we need like 7 locations and we just do like little cuts? Or are we trying to tell a story? What are we trying to showcase? What do we want to showcase? Ultimately for our project, we just figured that like, okay, well the story is in the script and the creative materials that we are submitting to other funders. The trailer is what it visually looks like. So we really like dove into that. What does it look like on screen? What are we seeing? Like what does the world look like? So as much as our trailer doesn't have a narrative, that was their big feedback was like, we don't know what the story is about. I'm like, it's not for you. It's for our funders. And people still enjoyed it and gave very positive feedback, but like ultimately we wrote a script that was like, how can we highlight all the differences of our series that makes it unique? So we got to showcase like the puppet, we got to showcase the like comic book elements of it and all just like the sex obsessed imagery. Like that was very important for me to do. So we had to kind of like write a story within that without really, there wasn't really, again, no guidelines of like, what your trailer should be. There wasn't even, I think, a time limit. It was just like, well, here's money, you do what you can with it. We shot in one day, quick and easy.
Nice.
Great crew. It was like, And then, we just edited it. I think it looks great. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I thought it looked great too.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
That's why you're here.
You saw it and was like, I need to book them.
You on my show now.
I understand.
I love it. And for those who haven't seen the trailer, what is Aced It about?
Yeah, so Aced It is an asexual story in a sex-obsessed society. So it is the journey of this one character, Ace, who has just discovered they're asexual in their 30s, so they're like late in life discovering this, and then they're going about their world now trying to redefine what that looks like to them. So while they've lived this life by society's standards and what they've been told, like this is how you're supposed to live, like relationship, you must have a healthy sex life, like if you're out there you better be like presenting yourself like aesthetically pleasing, like all these things that are unspoken rules of society that just kind of like get built into us. They're breaking that down. They're breaking it down. They're like, I no longer need to follow this narrative, but what does that now look like? So they are able to showcase that within like their partnership with their boyfriend, their friendship with their best friend, and their sister who just comes back into their life. And so we get to see kind of all the different narratives that are strung through that with all the different relationships.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it.
Thanks.
Yeah, I loved your trailer too, because from what I remember of it, it was like very relatable even if you aren't asexual, of like that pressure to, okay, when are we having sex? Is it like, how many dates are we waiting? Or, you know, like that just weird conversation that is supposed to be happening that oftentimes doesn't.
Oh, yeah, and also like that's kind of the reason why I'm doing it from an asexual lens, because as an asexual person, I'm so aware of it. Like everywhere I go, I even hear a conversation and like there's this like a slight sexual tinge to it, and I was like, are people picking this up? Like, so being able to put it like very visually in your face, and then people walk away being like, oh, I actually am starting to realize how sexual our society is, when it's almost a taboo subject. Like, unless you're with your close friends or whatever, you can't really talk about it. You're not gonna go out and be like, oh yeah, so I just effed all these people, you know, and then people will look at you strange. But you know, like I've developed such a like healthy relationship with my sexuality that I'm very open to talk about it, but it is exactly that. Like we don't want it to be an asexual narrative in a sense that like we're isolating people who don't identify that way. It's really just like, we as a society have been like constructed into this narrative. So it doesn't matter how you identify, but like within that identity, how do you define that for yourself?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And like the one of the most popular sayings, sex sells.
Exactly.
Right?
Oh yeah, that's, we say it a lot in the series.
Yeah. Did you ever have that issue or conversation with producers or grant people that you're pitching to, of them being like, you're pitching something that has no sex.
Right? Except it is, which is okay. Side story here, we actually got denied advertising on YouTube. Like we got denied our you have to submit ad spend on YouTube because of sexual content.
That's hilarious.
Which I think is so funny, because I'm like, okay. Anyway, that's a side story. But I think there's definitely like a hesitation that is unspoken from me when I'm sharing it with people and when I'm sharing it with audiences, especially because when I say asexual, like 90% of people are like, okay, I don't know what that is, which ultimately the definition is just someone who feels little to no sexual attraction. But that's such a base definition, whereas like then I say, oh, but I'm in a relationship for 5 years, and they're confused how that even works. Like I had a writer I was working with when I was working on another series, who was like, okay, but if you're not like sexually attracted to someone, then how is it different from friendship? And immediately I was like, I feel bad for your girlfriend. Like, if the only way you see her as outside of a friendship is that you have sex with her, then I'm like, there's so much intimacy in a partnership that like, I want to showcase that on screen too. Like we don't see that in asexual narratives, the very minimal that there are on TV. And I've done so much research, I could list all the characters that exist right now in media that are asexual, but even then the ones you see, it's like, here's a little bit of story about an asexual character, this is what their life is like, that's it. But I want to showcase like, ultimately, I am not my sexuality. Like I'm still an individual, I still have feelings and emotions, and I still like can hurt I can still have heartbreak, and like that can occur within friendships, that can occur
100%.
within family, that like, it's so, we don't know how to cross that line in so many narratives. We're just like, oh, here's the relationship structure. It's up here. We put it up here. And so many people, without talking about it, is like, oh, because sex is involved. That's why we put it up here, when it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, we really do put like partner relationships as like the highest form of relationship, where like I have my best friend, we've been best friends for like 25 plus years. And I would say that's a little bit more important than, I mean, I've been with my partner for a long time, but like I have other relationships and friendships that are just as important as a partner relationship.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, like I invest just as much in my friendships that I do in my relationship, you know. Like it's so important to me to showcase that in my life as well as showcase that in my art, because I think that's what's important, and people forget that. Like, yeah, I can have a best friend that I'm like watching a show with and cuddling on the couch with, and it's not sexual. Like, there are ways to work around whatever that is, and intimacy is in so many different forms. And we, you know, it's so, again, it comes back to, we don't talk about sex, we don't talk about it, but it exists and it like leads our culture. So it's this like weird balance of like, well, if I'm like holding hands with someone, people are just going to assume that we're fucking. Like, that's, you know, trying to break down that. Like, that's what my goal is as an artist. It's just like, let's break it down that.
Nice. No. I like it. So Asexuality started off as a fringe show. Okay, so you wrote it and everything.
Yeah,
you did everything.
I did everything. No, I had a producer, I had a director, like stage manager, who, again, our team like saved my life. Like, I'm so glad that I had this team behind me. They were wonderful to work with. Amanda Cordner, who is also in Asexuality, she was the director of it too. So she's been with the project since 2019.
Nice.
And it was one of those things where I was like, I want to write a solo show. I did a solo show workshop. I was like, I'm just going to try to write it, and then got in Fringe. And I was like, well, guess I'm doing it now. Because the intention wasn't to perform, it was just to get it out. And then, you know, I was encouraged by other people in my life. I had a friend who was listening to you talk about the story, and she's like, send it to me, I'll dramaturg it. And I was like, no, I don't want to share with anyone. Because it was a very personal story. Like that, the Drink of Choice is what it was called, and it was very much like, here's my experience dating as an asexual person. Like, just telling all the stories, like getting down to the dirt of like, I'm sitting there with my legs like this and the guy's head is here, and I'm like, people like this, I don't understand why. So just like, you know, like getting into like the comedy of it, because I do think there's a lot of comedy in asexuality, and people are just like so afraid to breach that because they're like, I don't understand what it is, so I don't want to touch it.
Fair.
And I'm like, no, but there is comedy in it, because like I have to laugh at those situations, whereas a lot of the actual truth of the narrative behind what I'm writing and what I'm advocating for is the fact that I didn't know what asexuality was until I was 23. So that's all of high school and that's all of college, that I was just like, oh, I guess I'm just weird. Like, I don't know, and or it's like pushed on me, and like, unfortunately, like, I had experiences that were, you know, unpleasant. Like, and so I push this narrative, and I want it to become something more mainstream so that people can avoid trauma, quite honestly. And I've done a lot of work on myself that I've been able to work through that. But like, I do genuinely believe if I knew asexuality existed at 14, I wouldn't have gotten myself into situations that were like dangerous. And that comes down to just like knowing this idea exists. Because until I heard about it, I thought there was something wrong with me. Until I was like, oh, I don't have to be thinking about sex all the time. Oh, I like can still enjoy the company of someone without like, you know, like I was friends with a lot of guys growing up too, and you know, growing up AFAB as well, like being conditioned as a woman, like I would be in situations where then they would just come on to me, and I was like, oh no, that like we were just hanging out and friends, like I don't understand. And it's like, I didn't feel sexual attraction, so I'm like, that's not between me, but like obviously they were in some way. Yes,
because I was nice to them.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. And so it was very off-putting, because I was like, oh, and then I would just go along with it because I was like, I guess I'm supposed to like this. You you know, I'm like, I don't know, this is what people do, like.
And then you're doing stuff because everybody else told me it's normal to do.
Yeah, which I think, again, goes along with it's not just asexuality, it's like just anyone who's coming into sexuality, anyone who's going into a relationship, it's queer identity for sure. Like, there's so many people who have dated genders that they're not attracted to because they thought they had to. So it's a lot of that where it's like, I felt that I had to follow this narrative because everyone else in my life did, and I didn't know any better. So yeah, ultimately I think that's the reason why I created it. But yeah, I came down to this Fringe show, and the reason why I continue with Aced It, or made Aced It, was every single show we did. That was for Fringe, we did 8 shows because we got patrons pick.
Ayo.
And then we remounted it at Factory Theater, and had 22 shows. So it was like lots of people got to see it, and I was very grateful. It was also a choose your own adventure because I'm nuts, and there's 27 different endings. So
no way.
Yeah, like people came back because they're like, I want to see this drink. I want to make like nuts.
That's so cool.
Bless my stage manager. I don't know how she called that show, but so I had every performance. I had someone come up to me, and it was either, thank you, I've never seen myself represented. People would like come up to me in tears because they were so grateful. And then I'd have people who were like, I didn't know this was a thing, and I think that might be me. And it was hearing that in vast waves, like every night, someone, I was like, I need to keep making this. Like there isn't a question anymore. I need to keep doing it. So that's kind of where Aced It was born, out of that. Whereas it's a very different story than Drink of Choice for sure, but it follows a lot of the heart of what that was. So yeah.
Amazing. I love that. That's awesome. Good for you.
I hope so. I want to do it well, you know, but there's also fear there too.
Yeah. Back to the IPF fund.
Yes.
I didn't even know what this was until this year.
Amazing.
Can you explain what it is?
Yeah, I didn't know what it was till I applied for it either. I have a wonderful producer that I'm working with, Natasha, and she and I have been working together since the short film. She came on there. I met her online, and it worked out. And she was in school in New York for like film production stuff, so she knows all of the stuff in the industry. But again, I'm like, I don't even know where you found this stuff. And she sends me this like, oh, we should apply for this. And I've always written Aced It as a TV series, like that's the intention.
Nice.
And I'm like, so I don't want it to be a web series. She's like, but this is, you know, like this is a step. Like we make the web series, then we do the show. And I was like, okay, you're not wrong. I want to make something, so let's try for it. And I don't know how she found it, but she did. And yeah, basically you can submit for a $30,000 development fund. And it's with IPF, Independent Productions Fund, and the CMF, the Canadian Media Fund, I believe. And they just provide this funding for you to do development. So that's a proof of concept. That's 3 episodes that you write. And then you're like, all the analytics of what it is. So like marketing, how are you gonna market this? Who's your audience? Like there's all this other stuff that, again, bless my producer. She's so smart. Because she gives me this document that's 60 pages and I'm like, I don't know what this is, but I love you.
Good.
So good, so good. So yeah, we were able to get the development funding in order to then like actually pay artists for their work, because I think that's so important. And it's like, yeah, like we're gonna pay you what you're worth. Like we're not paying, you know, union fees, but it's like you come in for a day and you'll have a day of work. So it's really, it feels good to like have a set that I'm like, everyone here is getting paid. Amazing. Thank you for coming. And then, you know, going on from there is like, there's a lot of obviously stuff that is developed behind the scenes and like the writer's room and working with the story editor for the first time. And like, I'm technically showrunning. And that's my dream. I want to be a showrunner, right? So this is like the first step into that, but it's still like, it's the first time doing it. So I'm like learning all these things. I was like, oh, that's what a showrunner does. Oh, this is also part of the job. Oh, this. So it's very, very interesting to just kind of like, they've given us a platform to allow us to do this with, because obviously art, I make so much art without money because I love making art, but it's nice to have that, the pressure relieved a little bit, because you're like, I actually have money. I could take a week off work and just focus on this, right? Which is so beautiful. And then with that fund, you use that to apply for the production fund. So luckily we got the production fund. Like I think 200 and something projects submit to the development fund, and then they only selected like 12 for the production
Yeah,
fund. Like,
out
it's
of the
insane.
trailers, it was something like a dozen of them get selected.
Yeah, I know.
Which is nuts.
I know.
There were so many good ones.
I know.
But then I was sitting there with my notebook, being like, I would pick this one and this one and this one. Like I went through, and you were yours, obviously one of them.
Thank you.
But yeah, it was interesting to see that whole process.
Yeah, it's so weird. And even applying to it too, like it's so much work to apply. And even while we're applying, I'm like, I don't know, we're doing this. We're not gonna get it. Like there's so much other talent out there.
Right.
And that doesn't mean I don't believe in my story. I think the story is very important, and it, you know, I think needs to be told right now. But it's one of those things. I think that's the fear of it too, of like sharing this such a vulnerable narrative where it's like, this is me. Like ultimately the main character is me 20 years ago or 10 years ago.
Right.
But at my age. So it's like, you know, I'm playing within that, but it's still, yeah, it's weird because you're putting so much work into this thing. And we were lucky to get the development fund. Now we have the production fund, and that's not even that's like step 2 of 100. So we got the production fund, and that's great. But that's 1/3 of what we actually need to fund the show.
Yeah.
Because we're doing 6 episodes, 20 minutes long, which is big. It's very big. That's a feature film. Like that, you know, is a lot of content to film and plan and produce.
Yeah.
So with the fund they gave us, that gives us a start, and it does make it easier to apply for other funds because they're like, look, they gave us funding. You want to hop on board with this?
So true. Which is a little bit of a catch-22, I'll admit.
Right.
But it is interesting that they go, oh, they funded you, we will also fund you. That's, I didn't know that. I thought it was like you could have one grant.
Right, no, and
that is it.
And again, this is all my producer being amazing and teaching us. And we had Charlie David from Border to Border also mentoring us too, which he's been so grateful and gracious with his time and his energy too, of like, he put our proof of concept on his channel. He has like 200,000 subscribers or something. So that got more people to see it. And he's been really great at like lending us a hand, or if we have one question, he'd be like, oh, check this out or whatever. So he's also helped. And so I do suggest, like, if you can find someone in the industry who's willing to like mentor you or provide that like assistance, like that's definitely a good way to go 100%. In it, because I don't know what we would have learned not having Charlie there. So it was, you know, it was great to continue working, and then just like the next thing, what's the next thing? And it's like, all right, so our application is in April. What does that look like? What do we need to add? Where are we adding this thing? And then like talking to networks and other production companies to try and partner with, and all the negotiations that happen behind the door when like we do want to release this in October 2026, which sounds so far away, but I'm like, that's not enough time. Like that's so much work. And ultimately when people see it, they're like, wow, I didn't even know you were working on this. I'll be like, it's been 7 years. Yeah, exactly. I've grown a beard now. So yeah, I mean, it's a process. It's definitely a lot of work. And again, like, yes, it's funding, but it's not, I can't quit my day job. Yeah. You know, so we're still both working full time while working around this, and just kind of like, okay, what works? How can we schedule appointments or meetings within things? And I'll take my lunch break and do that, because you're still doing 2 full-time jobs basically, without getting paid for both. Yeah. So it's an interesting balance. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Like we're so grateful that we got some funding for sure.
Yeah. Did they give you a deadline with that funding? Or is it just go develop it?
Yeah, so they have, like, we had to submit all of our development materials by October 1st.
Okay.
So we had to have all our development stuff in, but that doesn't necessarily mean we like have to give the funding out all by then. Like my producer and I haven't been paid yet because we're still like working on the cost report or whatever, but we submit everything up to that point. And then the production fund we haven't received yet. We receive it when we like secure other things, and then they only give us a percentage until it's released. So it's also like we have to do loan outs for huge amount of monies with money that we know is coming in, but like it's the business stuff that I'm like, yeah.
What are some things you said? There was some like surprising things that you didn't know about show running that you learned like along the way. What is a couple of them?
Yeah. I mean, I guess I've always known that a lot of it is about communication, and I've made a lot of my own art with that, like as my forefront as communicating. But when we did the proof of concept, I realized how much I was like taking a back seat when ultimately the showrunner is this. And I'm not used to being the person in charge of everything. Or rather I am, but it's like always collaborative where it's like, no, ultimately I'm the final decision maker. I'm the one who has the vision. I'm the one people go to for this. And I took a big step back and let my producer kind of like handle crewing and finding people to do things and all that. And I'm like, I would definitely for the show be a lot more involved with my director. Like I didn't choose our production designer. And like, you know, granted we had a great production designer and our director and producer helped find them, but like, as a showrunner, I should be in that room when we're interviewing. I should do these things because it is my vision. Whereas like, yeah, I do trust the director and producer to bring forward that vision, but it is still like mine.
Yeah.
And I think just really stepping into that role of like, I'm allowed to, and not using the term power, because that like kind of makes it seem like I'm controlling. That's not what it is. It's just like leadership, I guess, of like taking the role of leadership. And even like, while we're filming, the first day of shooting, be like, thank you all for coming. Like, I'm so grateful. And I didn't do that. And, you know, I'm going to do that going forward. And just being like, oh, I want this set to be this beautiful thing. I want everyone to come together. I need to be leading everyone. And ultimately, that's what showrunning is. You're running the show. That's what the name is there for. So learning from a web series perspective is very helpful because, like, yeah, once you're on a network series and you're, you know, working with millions and millions of dollars, it's a lot more pressure on the line. So I'm like, okay, even now there's already pressure. So just kind of always taking in everything and like, yeah, really communicating and I guess like creating that chemistry between everyone on set. And I am good at it. I just was like, I don't need to do it. Yeah. So, you know, and I only learned that again from like talking to showrunners with the IPF. We were given a year membership for Web Series Canada, which is also why, you know, I can go and attend this thing and stuff. So they give mentorship through that too. And so I was able to be like, oh, this is someone who's showrun. I speak to them. And then they connect me with someone who's like a director they worked with and I speak to them. So I've had a bunch of just like coffees with people because I'm like, it's so important. Even I can't tell you I'll ever hire you. Doesn't mean that I don't want to. I just need to talk about your experience working on a show or a web series or any sort of thing that I haven't actually done yet. So unless I learn from people, then I'm not gonna be able to do it. You know, It's a weird trifecta.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Good for you.
Thanks.
That's a lot.
I'm still an anxious, depressed human being who is with ADHD trying to be like, I have value. But you know, I'm getting
when you say the show running, that you know you should be running the show, or you're not used to being like the final say. Two things came up for me. One was the first time I went camping, and I was like the adult, and I was like, wait a minute. There's no like adult I go to if something goes wrong. It's a weird feeling. Yeah. And then the other thing, oh no, it left me.
It'll come.
Show
running the show, being in charge.
Running the show. Oh, is that I think in a collaborative setting, it is like obviously you're all collaborating with everyone, but you do need someone to have the final say. Otherwise, it's just like too many chefs in the kitchen, and everybody's very solid on
it's crazy.
Their opinion.
And yeah, I think I've always been collaborative with my approach to anything I've made, like all the previous shows I've done or the shorts or sketches. It's always been like, oh, what do you think? What do you think? But ultimately, like, they go, okay, but what is your vision? Hools? Like, what are you thinking? What do you want in this character? And I'm like, yeah, what do you want to do?
What do you think is best?
I know, like
let me sleep on it.
Yeah, and like ultimately I do know these things about the characters, but as soon as I'm put on that spot, I'm like, it's a dude who wears green. Like, what? Why can't I say words? So,
so funny.
Yeah, getting ready, getting prepared to be like, oh no, I'm going to be asked these questions, and like really knowing the characters, and like so much work I'm doing has nothing to do with the series. It does, but like I'm doing so much back work of being like, okay, like what is this character's life? What were their childhood like? Like doing all the character work behind the series. Yeah. To then have these questions ready. It'd be like, well, actually, this character would think this because this happened when he was 6 or whatever. You know, like those weird things that I only know.
Right? Yeah, 100%. And with web series, I know you say you want it to be a TV series, and web series is the next step. I am under the impression that web series are making like they're having a moment right now. Do you feel that way, or is it just the next
I know.
step
It's weird because but also while we're looking into networks and people to partner with, nobody wants digital series, they want full half hours. So it's like,
so
yeah.
So yours is 6 episodes, 20 minutes, and they want 30-minute episodes?
Yeah, like 22 is, I guess, 22 minutes
spot?
is the sweet spot for a comedy, because then you have the commercial breaks and stuff.
Yes.
And that's how you write it too, with the breaks in mind. But like, yeah, like even with Crave, they have web series on there, but they're not looking for web series. They want full half-hour shows. So it's weird, because I'm like, but they exist. I see them. Like I see, I'm watching My Dead Mom on Crave, which is a half-hour comedy, or I'm watching You're My Hero on Gem, and it's a digital series.
Right.
So it's being made, but where are all these walls? Like, what? How did you get past that? So it's like, I don't know, just talking to the people who did it and be like, how did you do this?
Yeah.
It's weird. So I don't know where we're gonna end up. Who knows?
Yeah.
Like we do have a conditional letter from Out TV, which is awesome.
Nice.
But again, like that's just the next step. If we get funding, then this thing comes in. If not, then we rejigger what it looks like and have to communicate with our partners on that. And it's weird. It's weird.
Nice.
All the business stuff is like so intense, and not something you can read in a book.
Yeah, why don't we have that book?
Someone should write it. There's a marketing how to web series in Canada specifically.
We will take 10%.
Yeah. Yes, right? Yeah. We put the idea out there. So right here on Creative Full Time, we put it out there.
Put it out there. Please write it.
Yeah.
Send me my check.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
That's awesome. Yeah, and it is one of those things that we were talking earlier of like talking to a lot of people is like super beneficial and super helpful. But at the end of the day, like it is just trudging through it that's gonna where you're gonna learn things and ultimately get it done, obviously. But it's like you could talk to as many people as you want and read as many books as you want. You're still gonna have hiccups and hurdles and things to dodge.
I also think something that's great, or something that I have to put in my mind that I put forward, is like failing with grace. Like you're gonna go into something and you're going to fail. And even if it's just the smallest thing, I forgot that this character needs an undershirt for this shirt because it's actually see-through. Like those little things, like every little thing along the way, you're gonna fail, but you cannot fail and be like, I suck, I'm the worst, which I do in my personal life, but not in my creative life. I have more grace.
That's right.
But learning from that, right? Like ultimately everything you do is going to be a learning experience, and like you might fuck up again in the same thing and be like, fuck, I told myself not to do that, but I did it anyway.
Right.
But just continuing to be like, okay, like this, something happened. And what we were just talking about too is like always adjusting, always being ready to change, always being like, okay, well, this isn't working, how do we change it? Like even for Aced It, we accidentally bought one bed frame and not two. It was a twin bed frames and we had a double mattress.
Oh my goodness.
The picture on the website had two mattresses.
Yeah.
Or sorry, two bed frames. Like every picture was two bed frames.
Right.
So we ordered it thinking it was two.
Oh my goodness.
And it came the day before, so it's not like we could have ordered another one. So we're like, okay, how do we fix this? Oh, we're bringing over like the dresser and like putting the frame on. And so I'm like awkwardly like lopsided. I'm like, just film above the bed. You won't see it. So yeah, it's just
amazing.
like, ultimately we could have been like, that's a failure. We suck. We can't film this anymore. Yeah, we're done. Cancel it. But you adjust, and that's kind of what is thrilling and also scary about being a producer, artist, creator, anything in this field.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and because you can't prepare for that.
No.
They just happen.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how much you prepare. Something inevitably will go wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. I love it.
Yeah.
So going back to the beginning now. So you went to post-secondary school for
musical theater.
Musical theater.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah. Ooh, why did I do that? Why did I make that choice? Everyone said don't do it, and I still did it.
Yeah.
I actually, I am such a nerd about musicals. I am the person who will sit in a theater and cry at the overture because I love it.
Yeah.
I will shamelessly just blast musicals in my car while I'm driving to somewhere long distance and sing along because I'm going to musical theater karaoke tonight because I love it. Unfortunately, I stopped going out for musicals and kind of transitioned into film and comedy because actually I didn't know I was funny until after I came to Toronto. And that I also just, unfortunately, like, it was the people in musical theater that really took me out of it.
People?
Yeah. Like, I just could not understand how someone could be backstage complaining about someone singing a solo on stage. I'm like, aren't we just all here to make the musical? Like, I am that girl.
Why can't we all just be friends?
I'm the one in Mean Girls. I'm like, I just want everyone to just get along. You don't even go here. Yeah. Like, that's me, because I don't get it. I just don't get it. And it was consistent wherever I went. Like, it was wherever.
It is very much a part of the culture almost sometimes, you know?
And, you know, maybe it's changed. And, like, I
feel like it's getting better.
And, like, I am actually doing a community theater musical right now, and it's been wonderful. And, it is the community, and the people are lovely. So good. But it was just, I couldn't continue to go out for auditions and be in the audition room and just have people, like, looking at me, or they're, like, hearing me sing, and they're like, oh. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, I don't, just focus on yourself. Like, I'm just happy to, like, touch step, whatever, you know, step touch in the background. I just want to be doing a musical because I think it's so beautiful and I love it. But yeah, so I went to school for musical theater, moved here, did probably auditions a couple times, but then as a day job was doing background on film sets.
Nice.
And that was how I learned how film works. I actively would go to set when they'd call. Instead of like gossiping or chatting with someone, I'd be watching what everyone's doing. Yeah. I'd be like, okay, so the fourth AD is the one who's dealing with us, and this is the first AD. They're talking to the director doesn't directly talk to us, and, you know, like, just kind of taking in as much as I could because I didn't go to film school.
Nice.
And then decided randomly to write, produce, and star in my own web series.
Love.
Having zero knowledge of how film works. Just being like, yeah, we could just press record on a camera, right?
Yes.
Yes, technically you're right, you can. And, like, I wouldn't suggest anyone watch that show because the sound is so bad. It's so bad, and sound is so important in film.
Isn't it though?
But
you don't realize it until you watch something with really bad sound, and you're like,
ooh. Yeah, and I can still watch it and enjoy watching it, and I think, like, ultimately it was a wonderful experience. Again, it was 6x20 because I'm insane, and this was like $0 budget. Like, coffee. Amazing. I worked at a coffee shop who let me film overnight. Like,
love.
I just happened to have that energy and commitment. I don't know, but that's obviously where I learned so much, because I was like, oh, like, there's so many other people than just someone who presses record. Like, there's the person who's doing lighting. You know, there's the person who's adjusting things, or like the microphone here versus here. We have the boom as well as the lav. It's like you don't know until you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, I learned a lot through that and kind of just like fell in love with film.
Amazing.
And yeah, I just keep making stuff from there. You know, I try and balance things with like indie film and then like on-set film. I do want to one day be like, I've worked in every department. Like, I think that's cool to just know. And as a showrunner too, I think it's important to know, like, if I'm adjusting the camera over here, I know how many people it's affecting. Like, oh, well, actually, if you do it over here, the prop is not going to be seen on the camera. So how do we adjust that? So knowing how everything works, even just in the slightest, like, even I've been working in the art department recently, just as like a PA in the art department. And just even like, there was a scene with a pharmacy. And the art department's job is to think, what's in a pharmacy? What do we need to make? Okay, so we need posters, we need pill bottles, we need different, like, we need non-clear, we don't want to clear a bunch of brand names, so we need to make up all these things. And that's not the writer. And ultimately, yes, it goes to the showrunner who's like, okay, that's great, let's go. But it's the art department coming up with those. Yeah. And you just have to know, like, oh, what's a pharmacy look like? Okay, so there's a bunch of aisles where, like, someone has to do that. Yeah. So it's very neat to just kind of pick up those little things of like, oh yeah, you don't think of this thing being this, how many people have to be involved in this decision.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I think about that. I think about the art department a lot.
Oh, yes.
Because I'll be watching something, especially anything with like practical effects, special effects. anytime it's like really good, I'm like, ooh, art department had fun today.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we love
so
it
much. But yeah, even the details of setting up a pharmacy.
Oh my God, I know.
Like I don't know.
And you don't realize how much is involved in that. So
Yeah.
also as a writer, I'm like, oh, maybe I don't want to film in a pharmacy, and it could actually just be in a doctor's office.
That's so true.
That's like cutting down half the cost of our set deck. Like,
yeah,
those kind of things. Like it really just helps with building the story and the narrative of what we're seeing. What can we do realistically with the budget without like killing ourselves?
Yeah.
Does it have to be in a gymnasium? Can it just be in someone's backyard? So,
right.
Yeah.
And do you have a plan for funding the other 2/3 of it? Like, are you kickstarting or GoFundMe or anything like that?
Not crowdfunding. I know that is a route some people go down. That's not what we're doing. We're looking at applying. There's an Ontario Creates grant. There's also Bell Media or Bell Media?
Bell Media Fund? Bell Fund
TV?
Media?
Bell Fund? Bell Fund.
Bell.
Bell Fund. Bell, ding, ding. And tell us as well. So we have the 3 that we're going to apply for, and we'll see what comes out of that. But, it also is if we're able to partner with another network outside of Out TV, like they could throw in some extra stuff here and there. So it's just kind of like, where's the money out there and how do we get it?
Right.
Especially with the troubling times of our current democracy. We need to get into that, but there's that concern too of like, if we're filming in spring 2026, what's our economy actually going to look like by then? We don't want to think about it. We don't want to think about it. But,
we don't want to think about it.
Yeah, so we have applications, but at the end of this year, it could be like, we didn't get anything.
Yeah.
So what can we do with what we have? So at that point, we go back to the drawing board and be like, okay, it's no longer 6x20, it's 8x12 or something.
Right.
A lot, or 6x10 or something that is like more realistic in regards to the money we do have.
Nice.
So.
And with, I think you said you're got a conditional with Out TV?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you allowed to also distribute to other ones, or is that not? It's one and done?
I think we can definitely partner with another network. It's just more about like the release times and like, who gets the first window, and that's really just specifics we work out in the contract, which we get to when we kind of like finalize things.
Yeah.
Is what they have ownership of. And what that's going to look like, and if there's opportunity for us to like, okay, we have you, like Out TV are the first ones to premiere it, you have it for however many months, and then we'll allow so-and-sos to also release it on their platform. And it's a lot of just communicating and stuff that I don't know very well, but I'm learning.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's further down.
Yeah,
we'll film it first.
Future Hools problem. We'll figure it out. Yeah.
It's tomorrow's problem.
Yeah.
I love it. That's awesome. Your short film, Basic Baes?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I think what's so beautiful, again, about creatives and what you have here, and just like, you get talking about something, and there's many times you talk with someone, you think of an idea, and you're like, yeah, let's do it, and it never happens. So when it does happen, it's so beautiful. And I think I have conquered a lot of my mental health by going to therapy, which I highly recommend.
Same.
Yeah. And I think I've spent a lot of time being like, nobody wants me, nobody wants to hire me, no one wants to work with me, I'm difficult, which probably is honest. I'm delightful and difficult. Double D's, But Kelly Taylor is a good friend of mine, and again, we met just through a mutual friend who connected us and did a sketch show together. And then she came to me with this idea for a short film. Nice. She was like, hey, I have a co-writer that I want to work with, but I also want to work with you. So it was Kelly Taylor, Ivana, I don't know how to say her last name, but she's wonderful, and myself. And so we produced, wrote, and starred in it. And it was such a neat collective too, because it was so effortless. So when that creativity comes and the story just naturally comes out without it being I don't know what this is, and it just happened. It was really, really cool. And the director we had was also the editor, and he was like a visual artist or VFX artist too. So it looked really good. Like I look at it and I was like, this looks professional.
Nice.
It was like we paid people, but like it was really like such a beautiful experience because us three got along so well that like we just kept on moving things forward. And it's great that Kelly reached out to me because she knew someone, and even when we spoke later, like we're good friends, but we spoke later and she was like, I was so nervous to reach out to you because you've like done so much, and I'm like,
aw,
okay. Like, no, I haven't, but thank you. I was like, you don't need to be intimidated by me, like, come on, I filmed stuff in my bedroom. So it
haven't we all?
Yeah, so it's very neat when people are able to approach you and like you can kind of come up with that collective creativity together. So yeah, even this festival circuit, like we got a bunch of awards and it, got nominated for a bunch of stuff, which was really cool. And I think there was a while we were like, well, we could take this and make it into a series, and nothing ever came of it. I think because Kelly kind of was like, I'm gonna go back to theater. That's my heart. Yeah. I love it. I'm gonna go stay there. Fair. And then I think Ivana doesn't live in Toronto, or she lives in the States or something. So it was just, it happened. But I'm very grateful for that opportunity because I think it was the first time I produced something that like I wasn't the front runner on. Like everything else I've done has been, all right, I wrote and made this thing and we're gonna film it, let's go. So it was cool to like be brought in for something because like someone has seen something I've done and they liked it, which is crazy. Right? What do you mean? So it was really, really lovely. I don't know much else to say about that, but yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. And you have 2 other web series that you've done?
Yeah, so the first one that I didn't know anything about.
Done much.
I know, right? I know it's crazy. I like to blame ADHD, but it's probably just, my childhood trauma. But
nice little combo.
Yeah, right, trifecta. Female therapy was the first one I did. This was the one I like didn't know anything about film, and it was created because I was doing a theater show with these 2 other women at the time, and when I still identified as female because it was a female-led show, and we were so good at riffing off each other. I was like, I'm writing something for us. I'm gonna write a pilot. And they're like, lol, okay. And then next day I send them a pilot. They're like, oh, I thought you were joking. No, I wasn't. And then
dead serious.
Yeah. And then I like pushed that further and pushed it further. And like we shot our first pilot, which was again, just shot in the coffee shop I worked at. And just, I don't even remember who filmed it. Like it was so long ago. And then after that, we used it to get other people involved and then wrote the series. Like it was very, very much awesome. Like $0 budget. We're not doing anything. We're not paying anyone. Anyone who's in film school that just wants work on a narrative piece, like let's do it. And I'm very, very grateful. That was also before I was union too. So it was a lot more flexibility with what we could do.
Yeah.
And I was young. I like to credit that. I had a lot more energy because I wrote 10 episodes. Wow. Insane. And then one of the actors gave the episodes to someone else who took a look at it. He read it. We met for coffee and he's like, great, I read everything you wrote and I rewrote the pilot. And I was like, that's bold.
Yeah, I'd be like,
yeah,
you can leave.
Yeah, no, but it was good though. It was kind of what I needed because I had wrote the 10 episodes to be absorbent, like this huge crazy piece. Like literally had a scene where one of the actors fell into a lion pit and was chased around by a lion. I have no money. Who's paying for the lion?
I would love to see how you just like zero budget that.
I know.
Lion.
I was like, I'm puppets. I don't know. But I wasn't thinking that. So we had to like really scale it down. And I learned a lot about that. Was the first time I had like a writer's room. It was like, okay, I can like riff off of other people. So there's 2 other writers on that, Scott Garland and Nick Porteous. And the 3 of us came together to write 6 episodes, like really solid episodes. And it felt really cool to like write together. It was the first time I really wrote together, and again, like we just did it out of the passion and love, and we did many overnights. I had a wonderful AD. Like he was so good for no money. Like he gave so much of himself to this project. Richard Withers. He no longer lives in Toronto. He lives in Kingston with his wonderful wife, who I went to school with. So that's how we knew each other. And like it was just, again, like everyone was just there for the passion of it, and I think that's kind of what the beauty of non-budget goes, because people are like, we just want to make art, and it's great. And obviously there's hurdles to both, but yeah, like insane. The amount of things I was able to ask for and favors I was able to call in, and like minimal amount of money that I spent. I don't know how I did this. This of course was back in 2015. So like I somehow got us to film in a bar for a full day for $100. This guy didn't know me like a stick in the wall. And he's like, yeah, just I'll let you in and then take your time. And I was like,
nice.
You have all this alcohol back here and I'm just a stranger, but okay. So again, don't know how that happened.
That's awesome.
And I was very grateful, and like, yeah, we ended up having like 1.5 to 2,000 views just from putting it on YouTube.
Wicked.
And have since like met other people who were like, oh, like you did female therapy. I was like, you saw female therapy? Okay. Which is like really, really neat. And also just like, yeah, just really understanding all the process of film, and really because I was the showrunner without knowing what that was, and the producer, like ultimately I was the only one who was producing it. Production managing, props department, set, writer, like it was in craft department. Like I was like, I'll just do everything. I don't need to ask anyone for extra help. So it was insane. It was an insane time. I don't know how it happened. I like distinctly remember a memory of me sitting in my apartment I had my whiteboard of all the scenes we had to still film, all the locations we needed, all the actors, and just looking at it halfway through filming, and I was like, it's not happening.
Oh my God.
We're not getting through. Somehow we did it.
That's nuts.
Yeah, I still don't know how it got done, but I am very proud of it because we did it. Like it's a full series that has a full story. It's funny. Like it's enjoy. I recently watched it with my partner because like it's been so long and he didn't know me when I was filming it. So I was like, do you want to watch this thing I did forever ago? He's like, I actually enjoyed that. I thought it was gonna be bad. I was like, thank you.
I love that.
Which is fair. It's the first time I did any film.
So honest.
Yeah, I know.
I thought it was going to be really bad.
Real bad.
I thought we were going to cringe our way through this, but that was great.
But yeah, I was like, I didn't know any concept of funding or anything. I was just like, I just want to film something and get it on camera, which was really a great experience. And then the second one, I ended up partnering with this guy who was, I think he also graduated from film production or something at York, and he was doing a thesis project. It was actually at the same time I was in Second City, because he came to see our show at Second City and was like, all of you are so funny, be in my thesis project.
I love
So like we kind of did this guy's thesis project, which was really funny. It was well written, and so I reached out to him after and was like, do you want to do stuff together? Because he was a cameraman, like he was a DOP, and I was like, I need someone who can do the camera stuff. That's where I lack. And so for a while we were kind of working together doing small sketches and stuff. And so I was like, I have an idea for a series. It's very, very short. It's like one location an episode. Like the concept is literally like this person, there's I guess woman who never gets to speak. Who doesn't speak. Like every time she's in a situation, people just keep interrupting and they just keep like ranting at her. So it's like her customers are just like, she's about to say the specials and they're like, we don't need to hear them. We're just like going off, like the best friend being like, I'm just so depressed about my boyfriend, and they're about to give advice and be like, I don't need to hear it from you though. Like you always say, like, it's just, that's the joke. The joke was just like, didn't speak. And then in the end, just like has a blow up and it's all in her head. Which I was like, all right. And that one was like so much simpler because I was like, it's just a joke now. Like it's just a web series that has a joke. So I was able to do with female therapy is very much like, I wrote it as if it was like a TV show in small form, whereas web series often it's like, what is the joke of each episode? Like what is the story that we're seeing? Like what is the story of the week kind of thing that we're gonna follow this character through? So it's interesting to like kind of see both sides of what that looks like. Cause even with Aced It, like I know that I haven't written a web series per se. Like even the story that we built, it isn't like you're coming in, this is our asexual learning for the week. Oh, we learned that asexuals are not boring people. Like it could be that for sure. But I've intentionally written it like, no, I've written it like I've trained as a writer. Like I've written a like TV show and script and whatever, and I'm like, this is the beats that I'm following. And so it comes with its own hurdles of like, well, it's got a lot more, like the specs of it are a lot bigger because like we have multiple locations, we have multiple actors, we need a lot of background, we need all of these things that build a world of a TV show. And it's not just like a narrative in a kitchen and we just see a scene back and forth and we're getting like points across, which it could be. So it's very weird to like adjust around, you know, budgeting and formatting and stuff. And again, like when you don't have a budget at all, what are you working within and what can you get? And then when you have a budget, you're working around specifics of like, okay, we have budget, but we also need to pay for insurance. So like, where does the money go? So yeah, I mean, I think that I did Penny for Your Thoughts because it was so quick and dirty. Like with Danny, who is the DOP that I met, it was very much like he was also very guerrilla style. It was like, I'm just gonna set up a camera and we're gonna record. Like there wasn't a lot of like, let's sit down, do a shot list, let's break it down, let's like see what the visuals are, like the style. It was like, no, let's just tell a joke. Like he was very much like, I just wanna do a joke, haha, funny. Which I love. I love that. I love jokes. But yeah, it's trying to kind of like adjust between what are you trying to showcase, what do you have, what's your ability, and what do you want to put out there. So, and I think I've really adjusted a lot of my creation since the beginning, where a lot of it was driven from comedy, and Aced It for sure is a comedy, but it's a lot more grounded in the sense that like I know now as an artist what my voice is and what story I am telling. Whereas with Penny for Your Thoughts and Female Therapy, it was like, I wanted to see. Let's do something. Yeah, I was kind of like, all right, let's just put something on camera. I don't really know what's happening. And now I have a lot more like grasp on what I want to be putting out there.
Amazing. Well, is there anything else that you wanted me to ask you or talk about?
Oh my God, we talked about so much.
I know.
I mean, like, I don't know. I think it's important that like creators are understanding how important that their voice is. Like I think ultimately the series that impact me so much are the ones that have come from the like personal and like really deep emotional place of the creator. And I think it's very scary to go there, and it's very intimidating to like really just like open up your heart and be like, all right, come at me, world, because there is a lot of terrible people out there who will make any excuse to tear you down because they're behind a little wall and they don't have anyone coming at them. And especially with the asexual community, like I follow a lot of asexual influencers, and there's one specifically in the UK who's like this amazing, beautiful like lingerie model, and she's constantly like, she's just sort of fell into asexual activism because she was posting about it, and someone's like, you can't be a lingerie model and asexual. That's against everything that makes sense to me. And she's like, I guess I'm an advocate now.
I love how you put that. That goes against everything.
Exactly. Well, it is. It's this like weird, like it comes from a place of fear of like, if you're not attracted to me, but I'm attracted to you, I'm offended. And it's like, I'm sorry? Like, even if I wasn't asexual, I could not be attracted to you, but you don't want to even think of a scenario that exists. And so she puts so much out there, and like, bless her, she's like constantly working on things that are like trying to change the story and like putting the asexual voice out there. But also, I see so much hate that she gets, and I understand that comes with it. And so anyone who's going to go out there and share that side of it, I understand that eventually, we know when Aced It's popping off, that can come, like that is eventually going to come, and like understanding that like this character, and I try and put that out there too, because I also don't want asexual people to be like, you're not representing my story. And it's like, I understand that, but like I'm representing my story as an asexual person. And that doesn't, like that doesn't make either of our experiences not valid. So trying to be like, this is a story about an asexual character, but it's not everything about asexuality. And so it's hard, especially when you're basically like, we would be like the first, I guess first series with an openly asexual leading character, because you don't see that. But even then it's like, okay, well, with that comes a lot of gravity to it, because I still want to be representing it properly, but I also want to be telling my story. And there's that fear of like, yeah, anyone online can be like, well, you're not asexual if you're having sex, you're not asexual if you're in a relationship. And so this character is doing that, like they're going through all these anxiety and these thoughts that they've been taught of like, oh, you know, might as well break up with this guy now when he knows that you're not attracted to him. Like he's already gonna break up with you, so just do it now. And so those thoughts already exist. I put them in the narrative, but I think like ultimately that's the reason why I've said ultimately so many times. I'm so sorry.
Count how many times.
Count them. Yeah.
What a prize.
It gives It gives it gives so much validity to the narrative, I think. Like if I was telling an asexual story that wasn't authentic to me, it could read as like, oh, you're just trying to like put that out there. And I'm like, that's not, it's not that.
No, it's authenticity.
Yeah, authenticity. Yeah, so yeah, I guess that's my advice as a creator. Like put yourself in it. Put yourself in it. Embrace the fear.
Amazing. Yeah. I love it. Well, congratulations on all you've done and best of luck.
I have done nothing. You've done
so much. Stop it.
Sorry.
And aced it, and we'll follow along with your journey with aced it.
Thank you.
It's so exciting.
Yes, I'm very excited.
Yay.
So
thank you so much for
having me. This has been so fun.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for watching the interview. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next interview.